Hi, everybody. Steve Paikin here. The world is changing fast, eh? I'm not sure I've ever experienced anything like it in my 40-plus years of journalism. Where does Canada fit in all of this? From federal politics to foreign policy to in-depth one-on-one interviews, we'll try to help you understand this uncertain era in which we now find ourselves. The Paikin Podcast. Find us on YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts.
This is the new Weight Watchers, built for real life and real results, no matter what mode you're in. Maddie went all in for her big day and lost 33 pounds. Emily lost 85 pounds and hit her goal while still living her life.
Weight Watchers gave me the tools and I feel amazing.
Join the millions of members and lose weight with the #1 doctor-recommended weight loss program. Lose more at WeightWatchers.com.
At 6 months, participants in a clinical trial of Weight Watchers program lost an average of 12 pounds.
And I thought we were done.
That's fantastic. Lesson learned. Podcast over. This has been a great time.
No. So 2 hours later, she spit on the nanny. Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
You're listening to a Pooja and Gertie podcast exclusive.
You won't hear this anywhere else.
Should we get into it?
Let's do it.
Okay, so the thing happened at school that I was dreading, that I was hoping would never happen. And it happened with my daughter, Sia, who's 3 years old. I went to go pick her up at pickup, like I do all the time. But this time, the teacher pulled me aside and said, "Do you have a minute to talk about Sia's behavior in class?"
Oh, no, it's like getting called into the principal's office, but
Yes.
for 3-year-olds.
And I was like, "Her behavior?" And I was like, "Oh, is everything okay?" And she's like, "Well..."
What is this behavior, Pooja?
Right? So we stepped to the side and she said, "Look, this has actually been going on for a month. I just haven't said anything because Sia's in a bigger class and I thought maybe she was just overwhelmed and, adjusting. So I wanted to give it some time, but now it's really becoming disruptive."
I've met Sia several times. She seems super sweet to me.
My little angel.
Yeah, what happened? What's going on at school?
I'm not sure, but the teacher told me that they had circle time. And
What's circle time?
Circle time is when they all sit in a circle and they each have a book. And I guess they're supposed to, maybe share, maybe they're about to go into the teacher reading or something. And Sia decided that at that moment she was going to take her book and just start throwing it up in the air and catching it, which she thought was hilarious. And I mean, it's kind of cute.
It's kind of cute, yeah.
Right? It's innocent fun. And
it's not great for the book or the author, but yeah.
Yeah. It's just innocent fun. But then the problem was all the other kids started doing it as well. So now all the kids are joining in, throwing their books up in the air, and nobody's paying attention to the teacher. So
Sia's like the ringleader.
Yeah. So that's not good. And then I guess another time a teacher had, sort of asked her to quiet down and to pay attention, and she stuck her tongue out at the teacher.
Where did she learn that?
I don't know.
I mean, she's picked that up from somewhere.
I stopped saying things like that because immediately I go into, I've done this. This must be me. I must have taught her somehow.
You are sort of like the human embodiment of a cartoon character. Like you're very animated, so maybe, but you. I
can see myself maybe sticking my tongue out, maybe like just as like for fun. I don't know. Anyway, she did that. Mm-hmm. And even now I'm hearing this and I'm like, this still sounds like, okay, like this is stuff I could fix. This is not that bad. And then I guess another time when, a teacher was trying to get her to pay attention, she spit at the teacher.
What? Hold on. She spat?
Yeah. And I clarified because I said like spit. And she's like, well, it's like, when you blow raspberries. Yeah. Right. Like that kind. Okay. But there's still spit. It's still not good.
In what general direction?
At the teacher.
At the teacher.
Yes, at the teacher. And so, of course, I was very concerned. And then I immediately thought, this is my fault. I've done something. Maybe I'm not, giving her enough attention at home. And this is her way of getting attention. It's been going on for a month and I didn't know this was happening. And I just felt like it was all my fault. And so I went home and she was in the car and she saw I was talking to her teacher. So she knows.
So she knew something was up.
She knows. And I could tell that she was nervous because she wasn't eating her snack. So I kept looking at her in the rear view and I could just see that she was like, Mama, like she was just trying to see if I was mad at her. So in this moment, I'm like, how do I handle this?
Was Bodhi there too?
Bodhi was there too. And he's just, he's sticking his tongue out.
Bodhi knew he didn't do anything wrong. So he's just enjoying his snack.
Yeah, he has no idea what's going on.
See, you going to eat that? You going to finish that?
I'll have that.
Yeah.
So based on this, I thought, okay, I'm going to take the approach of just being kind, being nice, telling her how much I love her, but that, she's not allowed to do this and that this behavior needs to stop.
So you addressed it with her head on.
So we got home. I sent Bodhi inside with the nanny and I said, okay, Sia, let's have a talk.
In the car?
In the car.
Ooh.
Right. So it's, separate. I didn't, because if I ever try to talk to her with Bodhi around, he jumps in, he tries to defend her. It's 2 against 1. I lose every time.
That's kind of sweet.
Yeah. They're both so cute.
Mm-hmm.
I give in. So in the car, I just said, Sia, you're a very good girl. I I love you so much, but your teacher is a little bit concerned about what's happening in the classroom. And you know that we don't spit at people. That's a no-no. You know that. And she said, yeah. And I said, and you have to listen to the teacher, right? She said, yeah. I said, you listen to mama, you listen to the teacher when you're at school. That's what we do. And she said, yeah. And I said, so, this isn't going to continue, right? You're not going to do that anymore. She said, nope. And I said, pinky promise? And she said, yeah. We did a little pinky promise. And I thought we were done.
That's fantastic. Lesson learned. Podcast over. This has been a great time.
No. So 2 hours later, she spit on the nanny. Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
What?
I just had to talk with her. And 2 hours later, she was doing it again.
2 hours after she agreed that we don't do this because she's a good girl and this is just not what you do in a functioning society. The same day, 2 hours later, she spat on your nanny.
Yes. And my nanny is wonderful. And she said, oh, it's okay. It's okay. She didn't mean it. It was the same thing.
Did you witness it?
No. My nanny told me. So she was doing that same thing, like that raspberry type of blowing raspberries, but spit is coming out. And so this time with a more stern voice, I said, Sia, we don't do that. We never spit. We do not do that. This is not okay.
Was that exactly how you said it?
Yes.
Okay.
And she was like, oh, okay. And then she started to cry. And she's like, you're yelling at me. And I'm like, I'm not yelling. Then she made it about the yelling. And then I felt bad.
That's
and I was
not
like,
yelling.
I know. I was like, I'll show you yelling. That ain't yelling.
Seriously.
Right? But anyway, so she went to school the next day. And I thought, okay, we had a good talk. I handled it in a way where I was a lot of positive reinforcement. And so I went.
Is this what gentle parenting is? I'm just asking innocently because I don't even know what gentle parenting is.
It's supposed to be, but I'm not good at it, clearly.
Right.
I don't even know if I was doing it right.
Because neither of us grew up with gentle parenting.
No, we grew up
with a school of hard knocks.
Yeah, the opposite of gentle parenting.
Yeah.
So I go to school. It's the next day. It's pickup. I'm like, okay, please just tell me everything went well today.
Hi, Donovan Woods here.
Hey, it's me, Tom Power.
We're here to tell you about our brand new podcast. It's called The Big Five.
So, Donovan, what is The Big Five?
Yeah, exactly. What is The Big Five? That's what The Big Five is all about. Every week, Tom and I will sit down with a special guest and dive into new topics, debating things like, what are the Big Five farm animals? The Big Five types of hat? The Big Five guys named Paul?
Martin, Revere, Mezcal, McCartney, John Paul II.
The debate is settled by a listener from somewhere across the country. It's like a game show.
It is a game show.
The Big Five, available now wherever you get your podcasts.
The new Wegovy pill is now available through Weight Watchers. Powerful GLP-1 results in a simple pill at the lowest price available. And with Weight Watchers, you can get doctor support and personalized nutrition programs. See if you qualify at WeightWatchers.com. Ad not reviewed or approved by Novo Nordisk.
So I asked the teacher, I'm like, so how did she do today? And she gives me the look, and immediately I'm like,
no, the very next day. So this is now like 3 infractions within the span of like 24 hours.
She said we were good until noon. And I said, well, what happened at noon? And she said the French teacher was in, and she was talking to the French teacher. She didn't like what the French teacher had to say, and the French teacher just kept asking her to be quiet. And she stuck her tongue out at the French teacher and refused to be a part of the conversation, walked away. So this is where the old school in me comes out.
Uh-oh.
And let's just say my next talk with her was not anything like the first talk with her. And this time I did all the things that you're not supposed to do, or at least they say you're not supposed to do. You're not supposed to threaten them. You're not supposed to, do any of those things. I was like, we are going to the cottage and you are not coming. If this behavior doesn't stop, guess what? You're going to have to stay here by yourself. Me and the whole family, we're leaving without you. And she's like, no. And she's screaming and tears are running down. I'm like, nope. I gave you a chance. And you didn't listen. You got one more chance. You got one more chance. And if you don't do it, you're not coming to the cottage. She's like, I don't want to stay here by myself. I'm like, well, then you better behave. It was a whole thing. And I felt horrible.
This is the parenting I remember.
Yeah.
This is like, it's like threats and bribery and yeah.
Yeah, and it was horrible. And I went to bed that night and I felt guilty. I cried because I felt so bad. I just wanted to like apologize, but I was like, maybe I just have to take the stern approach.
Right. I mean, it worked on most of our generation.
Yeah, and who knows what the right answer is? I don't know. I think you do what works ultimately. So the next day, went to go pick her up from school, and nothing.
Okay, no talk from the teacher.
No talk from the teacher.
So the stern approach kind of worked, at least for a day?
It kind of worked. I mean, and one could argue maybe that's temporary and maybe that's not a long-term solution. I don't know. And then I met with a girlfriend of mine who's actually a psychologist.
Okay, hold on. Before you get into the psychologist, I got to ask, where is DJ Pauly P in all this? Your husband, Paul.
Oh.
Like what's his take? As all this is happening and you're telling him in real time what's going on, what's his 2 cents on the approach?
He's like, so what you're telling me is my daughter's a leader. I was like, what?
His takeaway is that she's a leader because
Yeah.
she's leading the book throwing revolution?
Yeah. And that this is all innocent and I'm making too much of it. And she's 3. She's 3. What are we really doing here? Like, he just thought the whole thing was nonsense.
But don't you have to nip this stuff in the bud early on because otherwise you don't want her to become the class clown, or maybe you do. I don't know.
I don't know. I mean, served me well.
Yeah, I was sort of the class clown too. It worked out okay. Maybe that's not the best example.
And I still did well in school. I don't know. I don't know what the right approach is, but he wasn't worrying about it. And I was making it all about, I must be a bad parent. There's more to this. This is the beginning of her, her thug life. She's gonna be incarcerated if I don't nip this in the bud.
She's got prison tats at 3. I'm like, what? Where did you get a teardrop?
All of those things. So a friend of mine who is a psychologist, she wrote a children's book, and she's very smart. She went to Harvard. I told her the story.
Does she bring it up in every conversation? I went to Harvard.
No, but I do.
Okay.
I'm like, this is my friend. She went to Harvard. She's like, I have a name.
CrossFitters and people who went to Harvard, they will let you know every time.
It's true. She doesn't. Very humble like that. And she has a best-selling book. But anyway, I asked her about it. I told her what was going on. And I was just waiting for her to give me the psychologist's point of view of all the things I did wrong in that moment. Because I know it felt wrong. It didn't feel right. And she goes, she's fine. I was like, what? What do you mean? What do you mean she's fine? She's like, disobedience at this age, like, it's not a bad thing. And I'm like, it's not? She's like, no. She goes, you don't want a kid who just listens to everything and does as they're told. Like, she's challenging things. She's secure in who she is. She's confident enough to like push back a little bit. She's like, that means you're doing things right. You're instilling confidence in her. She feels safe to go to these places because you make her feel safe. I was like, I'm not even listening to anything else she's saying. She said she's fine, and that was enough for me. I was like, okay. Fast forward.
There's some terrific spin doctoring.
Yes.
By the way, yeah. Okay.
I don't know. Maybe you just like when you like advice, you're more likely to follow it. I don't know.
No, I kind of get the point though, right? It's like she's testing out the world. She's testing out her bandwidth.
Yes.
This is the brief period of time in the day where she's not at home and different rules apply, and she's testing out what those rules are in society.
And it's the whole thing about like, do you want to raise a good girl? Like, what does it mean to be a good girl? And then does this the start of being a people pleaser? Like, I'm guilty of that. I'm a people pleaser. I don't love being a people pleaser because it really doesn't serve you at the end of the day. And so is that what I'm teaching her? And so all of these things really, when she said it's fine, just don't worry about it, I put it out of my mind. And now we're about a few weeks after that incident.
Of post Spitgate?
Yes.
Yep.
And it hasn't happened again. And I haven't had to threaten anything else. And it's all been fine. And I actually just recently talked to her teacher and said, so is everything good now? Are we good? Is there still something that you want to, that you're concerned about? And she said, no. She goes, I thought about it because it's so unlike her. And she's not usually like that. She said, I think what it was is that she was missing me, the teacher, because it's a bigger class. So she hasn't spent as much time with Sia as she had in her class last year. And so she said, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to just spend a little extra time with her every morning. Her teacher's great. She does her hair every morning, and Sia only lets the teacher do her hair. She doesn't let me do her hair. She doesn't let the nanny do her hair.
Wow.
She only lets the teacher do her hair. So she said, I'm just going to spend a little extra time. If you can send in like a comb set and, some hair ties, then I'm going to have some special time with Sia, and it will be great.
Wow.
Which, fantastic. Like, kudos to the teachers who are wonderful. And so much concern and care for Sia.
Right. I used to have a teacher in high school who'd do my hair, but they'd give me the Nick Carter curtains. That was when I was through that phase. But it's a bit weird at that age.
Yeah.
It's cute that Sia's teachers do that.
You were 13?
Yeah.
Made sense.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so this is good. This is just a blip in time.
Yeah. Yeah, but I mean, all that to say is that there's going to be more of this, right? Something's going to happen with Bodhi. There's going to be challenges as they're getting older. And I'm going to tell you right now, I am a mess. Like, I feel like the worst parent I always feel like I don't know what I'm doing. I'm in over my head. I'm making it up as I go along. And then, what works for my kids may not work for other kids. So then you can't always, hear other people's advice because it doesn't necessarily apply to your kids.
Sure.
So I feel lost. I feel like this needs to be my platform.
This is your therapy. I feel like you handled it super well. And I'm not a parent, but just as an outsider to the situation, I mean, you tried 3 different approaches that slowly ratcheted up. You went from like a 2 to a 4 to like an 8. And the last approach seemed to work. Yeah. And then you got feedback from a Harvard psychologist who told you, like, yeah, this is fine. This makes total sense. I think you handled that well. Also, does any parent know what they're doing?
I hope so.
Right off the hop? Like, I don't think so. And your kids are the same age, so you don't even have the benefit of like, if you had an older kid, you'd be like, oh yeah, when they were in this phase, they did this. And they always say like you stress everything as the first kid, and then the second kid, you're just super chill. If you have more kids, by that point, you're smoking a cigar, you're like, yeah, there's no problem. We got it. Everything for you is happening at the same time because Sia and Bodhi are 3 months apart. Effectively twins.
Yeah. And I think really what I've gained from this, if I'm going to like pull anything from it, is that I didn't make a big deal of it again. Like, we've never talked about it again. It doesn't come up. I'm not saying every day, like, did you listen today or you behave? So it's kind of like out of her mind. And I think she's just sort of moved on. And maybe that's all it was, is that she was looking for a little bit of attention. Maybe it's not that deep. Maybe we overthink things. Well, wait, Pooja overthinks things?
Yeah.
When does that ever happen?
Finally got there. Are you going to tell her about Spitgate when she grows up? Because she's 3 and she won't remember.
No, she'll just listen to this podcast.
Yes. We'll play this podcast in lieu of a wedding speech at her wedding.
And she'll hate me forever.
Yes.
Great.
We solved nothing.
Hey, and if you like what you just heard, follow, rate, and review the Pooja and Gurdeep Show podcast wherever you listen. It does us a huge favor, and it's all we'll ever ask of you. Thanks so much.
Hi, Donovan Woods here.
Hey, it's me, Tom Power.
We're here to tell you about our brand new podcast. It's called The Big Five.
So, Donovan, what is The Big Five?
Yeah, exactly. What is The Big Five? That's what The Big Five is all about. Every week, Tom and I will sit down with a special guest and dive into new topics, debating things like, what are the Big Five farm animals? The Big Five types of hat? The Big Five guys named Paul?
Martin, Revere, Mezcal, McCartney, John Paul II.
The debate is settled by a listener from somewhere across the country. It's like a game show.
It is a game show.
The Big Five, available now wherever you get your podcasts.
You're on a GLP-1. Your appetite is changing, your cravings quiet down, and food noise is finally fading. But now you're wondering, how do I manage my side effects? What do I eat to stay strong? How do I break through a plateau? Because reaching your weight loss goals can take more than meds. That's where Weight Watchers Med Plus comes in. The support designed to help you navigate what comes next. With trusted experts who guide you, food plans that work with your body, support to help manage side effects, plus access to GLP-1 medication. Weight Watchers Med Plus is designed to help you lose more weight. Watch it work. Get started today at WeightWatchers.com. All medical services are provided through our affiliated medical group, Weight Watchers Clinic. Medications require eligibility and prescription. Individual results may vary. See site for more details.